For those who don't know, my name is Sky. I typically write paranormal romance under the name SD Haggis, and today I wanted to do a quick video about how I set up my documents in Scrivener so I can start writing my novels. I personally love watching other authors' writing processes, and even though I love watching other people's writing processes, I realized I have never shown my own writing process. And so now that StreamYard has a way to share screens, I figured I'd do a quick live video stream showing how I set up my Scrivener documents on Macmartigan, which is my Mac. And oh my god, I'm not writing today yet. I'm setting up a document. He looks so sad. I think I disappointed him.
You did, however, jump very nicely. I
did jump very nicely. My dad has this thing where he tries to scare me into writing and all that fun jazz. What was I saying before? Oh, so let's go ahead and switch over to my screen share and we'll get started setting up a document. I have a new document I want to set up today, and yeah, so let's go ahead and switch this real quick and lower this. Okay, so this is where dual monitors would be nice. All right, so what you're seeing here is my desktop for I've already got Scrivener open to the main screen that pops up whenever you open Scrivener. As you can see, all the lovely things in my background. But what I do, this works out for every single project I create. If I don't have a name for that project, I will just call it project. But I keep my documents very simple. I choose the blank template. And this project is one I'm going to be doing for my newsletter. The book is going to be called Modern Magic. I don't do tags. I automatically save it to my desktop because it doesn't always put it in the files I want it to be in. I will move it later, so I just move it to my desktop and I create it. All right, it's going to take it a bit, but then it opens up. Okay. Alrighty, so now we have this blank text document. Depending on what you're doing, there's other templates you could do. Oh shoot, I maybe should have explained that. Let me exit out of this real quick. I'll open it back up. But I said I use blank documents. There's also documents for fiction. You can have novel with parts, or short story. Nonfiction, there's various different types of nonfiction related stuff. Templates is the word I'm looking for. You can do script writing if you are doing any kind of scripts, depending on whether it's a screenplay or a stage play, etc. And under miscellaneous, they have persuasive lectures, poems, and recipe collection. All right. Now, for those who don't know, because I am on a Mac, I am using Scrivener 3.0. It's actually like 2.9 something. I don't even know what it's officially called when you download it. But I just used the blank template. So let's go ahead and open recent. We're going to go back to that Modern Magic because I closed it. All right, so again, I keep my documents fairly simple. I do not want to upgrade my storage. It's very adamant that I upgrade my storage. I get that notification multiple times per day. Okay, so I keep my stuff very simple. All I do is I create a new folder. Each chapter will be a folder, and each scene between scene breaks will be a text document within that folder. So if I have multiple scenes within one chapter, I'll have multiple documents in that folder, and each folder will be a chapter by itself. So let's go ahead and move that to trash and move that to trash. And I'm going to go ahead and empty my trash because I want my trash to be empty. Empty trash. Are you sure you want to delete all items in trash permanently? This operation cannot be undone. Yes. Once I get started writing and filling up those pages and documents, I will no longer put them in the trash can. All right. So now I have my folder, which is going to stand for my chapter. And inside my folder, I have my document where I'll start writing. Now, for this particular project, since this is going to be something I'm putting in my newsletter, it's going to be one a month. There is going to be 12 chapters. And actually, it's going to be 12 short stories that are going to be in a collection, and the collection is called Modern Magic. So let's go ahead and right-click on the folder because I want to create 12 duplicates. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 total, because it has this. The first one is just called new folder versus new folder 1 is actually number 2. Don't worry, these names are actually about to change. I've already got titles for all of these projects. And I forgot to pull up something because this is based on something else. Fudge nuggets. All right. And within these folders, you can see that there are the text documents already in them. And I can add more later if I would like to. All right, let's go ahead and open all of these up. And I'm going to go ahead and start naming these folders with their short story title. The first one is called A Shot of Charisma. This is actually based on a Tumblr post I saw several years ago where it was talking about magic in the modern day world. And it was like a coffee shop run by fairies, a dragon for a banker, a mechanic that's a wizard, and all that fun jazz. And I thought it'd be really fun to do this for my newsletter. I'll write one short story that is 3,000 to 5,000 words each, and they will go in my newsletter for free. And then at the end of the year, I will publish the whole collection of short stories in one book. So A Trace of Perception is the second one. Here of Wisdom. A Bit of Money. I'm having to look back at my notes. And of course, I came ill prepared because the next step will be the most important one. And I don't have it ready. Page of Knowledge. Practical Education. And I have to do a shout out to a couple of people who helped me come up with these titles. This is something that I've actually been planning since late last year, some point. Let's see. Drop of Nature. Lick of Strength. A Hint of Persuasion. And I think I spelled that wrong. Maybe not. Taste of Medicine. Foundation of Wishes. And the last one is An Elixir of Life. Alrighty. So that is all of the chapters or short stories created ahead of time. Now there is 12 chapters total. So we're going to go ahead and set up my word count goals under project. Go to show project targets. Again, this is something that's available in Scrivener 3.0, but it is not available as of yet for Scrivener for Windows. Those of you who have Scrivener in Windows, you do not have 3.0, and I apologize ahead of time because I have this and you don't, and I'm so sorry. So sorry. I can't do math in my head apparently. 3 times 15 is not 3 times 15. 3 times 12. 36? That doesn't sound right. Let me do some math real quick. Somewhere around here I have an index card. I can write 12 times 3. 36. I was right. So 36,000 words. That's what we're going to predict this to be. I always try to go for the low end of my official final word count. And since each short story is going to be 3,000 to 5,000 words each, we're going to pretend it's 36,000 words total. And then under options, I'm going to go ahead and set up my deadline. I do like to have a deadline. I want to be done within, let's see, I want to try to finish one a month. So it needs to be the end of September. There's 30 days in September. I don't know why I'm scrolling up when I could just type. All right, so that doesn't look right. It's going to be the end of August. Yeah, because we're 5 days into September. So, alrighty, and then we're going to do session targets. It's going to reset at each time, the same time each day at 12 a.m., which is midnight. Allow negatives, yes. Automatically calculate based on draft deadline. And I only want to write Monday through Friday. And I also want to allow writing on the day of the deadline. So that's all set. And based on that, it's going to tell me how many words I need to write a day for until this project is complete. So I only have to write 140 words each day in order to complete this. Now, I will probably do more than that because I would actually like this done in 6 months, which if we start in September, October, November, December, January, which means I want this done by the end of January. So let's go ahead and change our draft target to January 2020, which means I have to read 339 words per day in order to finish this project. That's actually not bad, but still not a ton of words. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and close this out because that portion is done. And from here, if this is where the plotting starts, if we come to draft, we can see all of our short story sections or chapters, depending on your way of looking at it. And from here is where I usually do descriptions. However, as I said before, I was a dum-dum and did not have that prepared. So I actually have to look at something and see if I have it saved on my computer somewhere, which I know I don't. So let's do something else. I'm going to look through one of my past conversations because, as I said before, there were a couple of ladies who helped me come up with these titles based on the project. So I'm going to look through our past conversation. It's going to take me a little bit, so I apologize ahead of time. Oh, I go find it somewhere. It was 2 Tumblr posts. Oh, I have a lot of pictures to scroll through. Oh dear, this was a bad idea. I should have had this ready to go before I did this live stream. I am not smart. All right, let me see if I can just Google it. All right, Tumblr post. I'm Googling this off of my phone. Tumblr post, magic in modern world. worst part is this is probably saved in my Pinterest, but I don't have Pinterest on my phone. All right. Well, I know the first one's a fairy run coffee shop. I did not come prepared, y'all. Aha, there we go. The post itself says, I am sick of magical worlds with no technology. I want fairy-run coffee shops where you can get a latte with a shot of charisma because you've got a big presentation you're worried about, or witches working at Apple selling phones that automatically appear in your pocket if you accidentally leave it somewhere, or psychics running hair salons who always know how you want your hair to look, or aura reading therapists. I just really want normalized magic in modern society. That was the original post. And I feel like it was actually a lot longer because there was more to it. All 12 of my ideas came from that one and one other one that dealt with like monsters in hospitals. So that's it, but that's not the specific one I'm looking for. Erg. Let me go back to that. You know what? I'm going to... You guys are going to see my Pinterest because I'm going to go to Pinterest. I know I have this in my Pinterest board. Like I said, I should have been prepared, should have had this pulled up, and I didn't. All right. Let's see, let's go to me. A lot of my story ideas come from one or two places. They come from dreams I've had, or they come from Pinterest pins or story ideas that people have shared with me. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. That's what this whole story idea came from, and I started plotting it out several years ago on papers that I no longer have anymore, discussing it over conversations with friends. Now it's just a matter of finding it again. Let's see if I can find it here. I have a lot of story ideas saved that I want to write that are based on Pinterest. Like I have romance stories I want to write based on Pinterest stuff. I have magic stuff I want to write. I have fantasy stuff I want to write. I just have lots of stuff I want to write. Lots of AU stuff, alternate universe stuff, mostly. I apologize that I did not have this ready. Where's it at? It's supposed to be here. I have a superhero villain one that I want to write based on some Pinterest stuff too. So I actually get a lot of story ideas from Pinterest. As much as I say I hate to use Pinterest, I hate to use Pinterest because I get lost on it. And by lost, I mean I will spend hours looking through stuff on Pinterest instead of doing what I should be doing. You know, like now, I'm looking for something. Here is the original pin. Let's open this in a different tab because there's a second pin that I'm looking for that kind of goes along with it without being the same one. Here he is. All right. And I still feel like that's not it. I still feel like there's another one. Let me just double check this. I think that's it. Okay, so it must be just those two. Let's see if it actually opened them the way I wanted them to. All right, so here's the original pin that I just read, and then this is the additional pin that was added to the idea to help me get to 12 stories. Vampire doctors that can smell if you have a blood disease, werewolf therapy animals for sick kids, oops, nature sprite and nymph nurses that always make sure people have pretty flowers to brighten up their white rooms, fawns that go around and sing and dance for patients so that they smile, nice monster hospitals would be amazing. Sirens that help with sex addiction. Okay, I feel like they're... All right, let's see if there's any suggestions. Because there was one about a dragon banker. Oh, maybe this is it. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. That one. All right, well, let's just look at those. Let's go back to this. Okay, Shout of Charisma is the fairy-run coffee shop where lattes do have a big presentation coming up. All right, Trace of Perception. That's the one about the witch who spells phone. I'm just going to write a quick sentence. Let's see. Psychics who always know how you want your hair. And this is important, so I will come back to this. Not the reason why I'm writing all this down. Who always know how you want your hair. Dragon Banker. Library. See, this one was in a different post, and that's what's bothering me. I can't find that post. Maybe I have it saved somewhere else. All right, let's take a look at my file system. So I said I save my documents directly to the desktop when I first start writing. Eventually, I'm going to move it to this file that's labeled Scrivener 23 May 2019. And that was the date that I moved all of my files from my old computer onto the Mac. So they're still just stuck in this file, and I just keep adding to this file, honestly. And I have started plotting this out before last year, so let's see if we can find it. I have different folders for different series. Story plots, it's not going to be there. '12 series. Originally, I was going to do a different idea. Okay, so maybe it's in this. We're going to open these files and see if it's in this. Is it going to be the backup? See, this is why I didn't use these files and why I wanted to create new files, because it's got all of this. It created backups for some reason. I think that I don't know if that was when I transferred it from my PC to the Mac, or if it was run. So I did create them. Okay. This is how I used to set them up. I used to just have one folder with the title of the whole story, and then each individual document was the short story. I have since changed the way I do this, which is part of the reason I want to do this. But however, this does have the information I want on the, let's go ahead and just make this smaller so that I can have these side by side, which I actually do this all the time, believe it or not. This is how I do my editing as well. Come on, since there's nothing in this folder, I can keep shrinking this down, I think. Maybe it'll let me shrink it down further. Oh, I guess it won't let me shrink it down. What? How come I can shrink that one down further, but I can't shrink this one down further? That makes no sense. All right. Anyways. We're just going to copy and paste this information. Phone which. This is before I had titles for these. And I'll come back and explain once I copy all this over why it was important to have these descriptions in here. This is part of my outlining process. But not only that, oops, that's not what I want. I accidentally copied that tab information instead of pasting the new information. Okay. Why am I having difficulty scrolling? Do. All right. Once I finish copying all this, I will explain further detail. If this was being filmed rather than live streamed, this is where I would speed it up. As it is, you have to listen to my lovely music instead. My lovely Jeopardy music. Okay, so now that I've finished this, we can go ahead and close this out and make this big again. Shrink that down. Oops. Having difficulties here, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is what I wanted to explain. The idea with the story was based off those Pinterest posts, and it gave me the basic idea for each story, which you can see here: a shot of charisma, coffee shop run by fairies, shots of charisma when you have a presentation you are worried about. And then I wanted to develop it further. Each short story is going to revolve around one single character and how they go about through their day. This character is going to be the main focus of the very last story, but each story is going to have her appear somewhere, even if she's not the actual main character. She is going to be involved. It's going to be like, there was a prompt that actually helped develop the story as well, talking about how does the bartender always know everything that's going on around him, and why can't we get a story about the bartender? And I was like, what if we see the minor characters of the main character story and how they live their lives? So that's how this whole idea developed further from the original idea of like magic in modern world with technology as well, like the coffee shops run by fairies. Our necromancer is going to be the main character technically, but we're going to see how they would interact with minor characters, where I'm using minor characters in quotes, in their day-to-day lives. So they're going to go to the coffee shop that sells to the necromancer. In tracer perception with the witch, the necromancer is going to have a spell put on her phone because she loses her phone a lot or something like that. Hair of wisdom, the necromancer gets her hair cut and styled. Bit of money, she's going to go to the banker. I haven't quite decided. I am a paranormal romance author, and I do want a bit of a love story here, but I haven't decided who the love interest for this necromancer is going to be. So in the bit of money, she's going to go banter with the banker, and the banker is a dragon. So it's going to look more like a fight between them than banter, even though it is just banter. Page of knowledge, she's going to go to the elf who runs the library. They're best friends with each other. They've been going to school together. They've known each other since they all came out, since magical creatures came out, quotes around out. Fraction of education, necromancer's nephew calls her about being tested for magic and getting a familiar. Drop of nature, another friend of the necromancer. They speak to one another about the necromancer bringing animals back to life from oil spill. Mermaid helps out with animal rescue and oil spills. A lick of strength, wizard works on cars. I'm not quite certain. I'll have to go back through my notes on all of my other documents and see if that's actually the one I was thinking of. Wizard works on the necromancer's car, which gets trashed by protesters. And that's actually the first hint into the necromancer's own story, because that's going to revolve around the necromancer's job. Hint of persuasion, figure unknown to lie, renowned for their ability to lie and tell the truth and sense lies. Wait, what? That makes no sense. I'll have to rethink that wording. They make deals and strict are about them being broken. Necromancer's dating. Oh, I guess I did decide who her love interest is going to be. Her lawyer, who's also a fae, is going to be her love interest. So there's that. Taste of medicine. Vampire doctors, nymph, dryad, satyr nurses, werewolf therapists, aura reading therapists. Necromancer's sister works in the morgue and often allows families to say final goodbyes. A foundation of witches is a genie that works for a foundation that allows him to grant wishes for those with terminal illnesses. Necromancer is called forth to find out the final wish of a client. Oh, that could get deadly. Ha 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 ha, deadly. Ah, necromancer, deadly. Yeah, I did not mean for that. I'm sorry. I'm horrible. Moving on. Elixir of Life is the main story of the necromancer herself. Raises dead in order to settle disputes over will and testament issues, and she deals with everyday bullshit from protesters and death threats for her kind, because let's face it, the way I wanted this world to work is kind of how in modern day society right now we are dealing with protests against Planned Parenthood. And without getting too political, I was comparing the necromancer's job and lifestyle to that of the employees and clients of Planned Parenthood, about all the protesters, all those saying that they should not live. Yet most of the people who say that Planned Parenthood is bad are only looking at one side of the coin. Just like in the necromancer's world, she brings the dead back to life. However, they're only looking at the fact that she brings the dead back to life, and they're not looking at the why. It's literally for legal reasons over like will and testament disputes. It's not just because she can or wants to. So that is a little hint into how I plot, because this is literally it. That is the extent of my plotting. I have an idea, and I will just roll with that idea for each of these stories. Okay, and as I said, each of these stories will have different documents within the chapter itself. And as far as naming these go, it depends on my mood. I do like to give them some kind of name, just because otherwise it will look like this is what I'm typing. And it shows up as the title if I don't give the scene a name. And that whole thing will show up there, and it will continue showing up there as the title, and just that annoys the piss out of me for some reason. I can't explain. It's just me. So I will give it like let's pretend one of the characters is named Merida. I will just call it Merida until I decide a different name later on. And when I change this to, when I compile it into a text document, Word text document, docx or doc, the scene chapters actually go away, and all that will have a name is the chapter itself. The Shot of Charisma will be the only chapter name involved. So yeah, that is how I set up my documents. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. I have my comment section open on my phone so I can pay attention to them this entire time. So if you have any questions, let me know. Now, this is for a project I have planned out already. It is a little bit differently if I have no idea except maybe a basic blurb, because I do tend to come up with the blurbs, a working blurb first before I start writing. This is something I've been planning on, like, randomly here and there for the past couple of years, trying to figure out how I wanted to do it. Or I was trying to decide whether or not I wanted to do it for my newsletter, or if I wanted to just make novellas or short stories, or each of these be its own novel. So this is something I've been working on off and on for the past couple of years. However, for something I have never done any work on, the process is a little more different. I will do another video in the future about how I do something like that, where I have no idea what I'm doing, except maybe a basic idea. But for now, that is how I do that. I'm going to go ahead and close all these Pinterest tabs because I no longer need these. And I'll stop sharing this because that's going to be confusing. Okay, so there you have it. That is how I set up my documents. The only other thing I do, actually there is nothing else. I just start writing. Once all of that is set up, I try to set up all of that before I start writing. And then I just start going. And with the fact that each of these are short stories, I could start anywhere I wanted in the document. I am someone who likes to start from the beginning and go to the end, so I probably won't skip around. I will literally write the first story and then the second story and then the third story, and I'll write them all in order. But I have the option of skipping around if I wanted to, and that's part of the reason I set it up the way I do. Anyways, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. And I will see you guys all next time. Bye.